What the hell is this?
You're right, geezers. Yeah, so the Crown Tundra, that comes out in about a week. I always said, ever since, like, you know, it's old news now, obviously, but ever since they, like, you know, cut the decks for Sword and Shield, I always said that, even if it was, like, half as a joke, I did put it out there that they would lock Pokemon behind a paywall. And that's exactly what they've done. Like, nobody believed me. They called me daft, yeah, they said I was stupid. And that the reason why they were cutting the decks is because they needed to. But, like, Game Freak aren't a small indie company, are they? They aren't. So you knew that they were just going to be putting them behind a paywall. A lot of people have said that it's not really a paywall because you can still get them, like the new Pokemon. Well, not the new ones, like a lot of the classic ones as well. But you can still get them without paying via trade. But, like, realistically, what you're paying £15 for isn't the world or the story. You're paying for the right to catch like the new Pokemon at your own discretion, really. It's not as if you're paying for the story because it lasts about 10 minutes, especially, I mean, the Isle of Armor, the story was about 10 minutes, you know. You got given this little geezer, and you train him up, and you become mates, and, you know, you walk around the fucking island with him, yeah, trying to raise his happiness up, and that was the entire thing. Once you got him to max happiness, you take him to a tower and do some fights, and then, like, he evolves, and that's it. You know, you have the Digletts about as well, walking around the Isle of Armor. There's like 4,000 fucking Digletts knocking about in different areas of the Isle of Armor, so you could collect all of those if you wanted to. It's not as if there's that much to explore, really. The only thing you're gonna want to run around for is to get to different places to catch different Pokemon. I've seen a lot of comments as well about Clara, to the effect of, ooh, you know, as much as Game Freak has fucked up, they sure do know how to design their women. And it's just like, what? That's like the Kasumi argument from Persona 5. It's like, oh, Kasumi is a $60 waifu, and you just so happen to get a Persona 5 remaster along with it. It's like, okay, Clara's got like thighs, bro. Better crack the wallet open. Game Freak is my money. It's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's like literally the, like, flimsiest defense for anything. Oh, it's like, oh, it's got a cute waifu. Like, hearing someone say, like, oh, I'm paying for such and such a thing because it's got a cute waifu, it makes me want to crush my femur into powdered dust, because it's one of the weirdest things I've heard. Obviously, it's no secret that, like, people on the internet are fucking weirdos. But if you're willing to shell out money for something as, like, a character design that you think is, like, attractive, like, you know, a waifu, then you just there's something up with you, honestly. Also, I've heard a few people say that releasing, like, DLC on top of, like, the full price game is a better alternative to releasing, like, the sequel of, like, you know, Black and White 2, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, like a sequel to Sword and Shield, which is so stupid. I have no idea in what world that makes more sense to release DLC. Put it this way, Black and White 2 were full games. Yeah, you're paying a full game price for a new story, you know, new gyms, new additions. You had the theater and stuff, all the different mini games. Black and White 2 had the new cities. You know, you had that forest city, which looked really nice in black, and then in white you had like the this actual, like, it had like skyscrapers and stuff. It was like actually really sweet looking. and like the battle tower and stuff near the first city, you get the shiny Axew, or was it an Axew? No, it was a Gibble. You get the shiny Gibble for reaching the top. That was cool. Like, obviously, I bring up Black and White too instead of like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, because Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon fucking suck shit through a straw, and Sun and Moon weren't really much better anyway, so who gives a fuck. And also, I am gonna die on this fucking hill, but I'm gonna say it. Again, this is one of those things where it's like, everybody should feel this way, but not everybody does, and I cannot understand it. This shouldn't have cut the decks in the first place. If you're gonna defend it, like, you should know, like, if you be honest with yourself, if somebody asks you, hey, there's an upcoming Pokemon game, would you rather have every Pokemon in it from the beginning, or would you rather cut some out? Like, if your answer isn't, I would rather have them from the beginning, then you are lying to yourself, and you should feel terrible, honest to God. Really, I think we're all lucky that the Game Freak have decided to sell, like, both the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra as, like, a DLC pass for, like, £15. Because, like, let's be honest, if they released them both for, like, £15 each, then people would still buy it, you know. Like, the Isle of Armor came out in June, so, like, it's not much of a stretch to feel that people would drop, like, you know, 20 quid, like, you know, in June, and then, like, 20 quid in October for two separate pieces of DLC. And they could have easily, like, doubled the profits, and they just didn't, which is, like, you know, they could have took advantage of the fact that people see Game Freak and just, like, you know, take the wallets out of the pocket and just start throwing it, you know, just throwing the money away. And when you actually look at it, all you're getting out of this new DLC is just it's almost like the legendary DLC. Like, they didn't put any in the last one, and so they were like, oh shit, we've only got one DLC left, and we need to, like, shoehorn in all the legendaries. Let's just throw them all in. And let's just redesign a few of the old ones as well. And that's another note. Leave the old legendaries alone. Like, because you're fucking them up. Not in the way that, like, just don't add them in. Like, you know, add them in. But just, like, stop changing the designs. Except for the legendary trio, like the bird trio. Like, they actually do look dope. I'm talking more about, like, the Regis. You fucked the Regis up. Like, irreparably. Like, think about it. You had these 3 golems, like, these in Gen 3. You had these 3 hulking golems of the, like, you know, the purest forms of the respective element. And then in the Crown Tundra, you've got a fucking volleyball. And, like, I don't even know what, like, Regieleki's meant to be. It looks like he's got 2 frayed hoodie strings, like the end of 2 hoodie strings on his arms. Really, you could have just slapped some braille over Rotom's face, and just, like, you would have had a better design for Regieleki. You know those fan videos that people were, like, making 12 years ago on, like, old YouTube, where it was like a slideshow of all the I watched them all the time, like, as a kid, on my fucking nan's laptop. Dell laptop, that was sweet. It was like a slideshow of all the, like, Regis, but for every type. You know what I mean? Like, it probably had Faint by Linkin Park going in the background. And those fan creations were better than anything that, like, well, not anything, but, like, in regards to the Regis, they were better than anything that Game Freak has, like, basically just, like, shit out for this new DLC. Like, the thing that bugs me the most is that they had the opportunity to create, like the dragon type, and it's just, like, the soul essence of a dragon type in the Regis, because that's, like, what it is, really. That's what I mean, I was always under the impression that that's what the Regis were meant to be. Like, you know, you had rock, ice, and steel, and they were, like, just rock, ice, and steel, just purely their own element. And so they had the opportunity to create the soul essence of a dragon, and gave us like a fucking testicle with stubs for arms. So they've kind of fucked that one up. Bit of a shameful display, if you ask me. Regieleki just looks like it just doesn't even represent, like, okay, it's yellow, sweet, and it doesn't look like anything that I would associate electricity with. Dog shit. No, don't get me wrong, it's not like £15 is like, you know, extortionate or anything, but I'm just saying they could have done a lot more, and they could have done a lot better. I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel a bit bitter having to pay for something that, like, has for years been free. The entire decks. And I don't even know if we're getting that, like, in the DLC. I don't even know if we're getting the whole decks. I don't even think we are. But to get the majority of it back, for that to cost money, it just feels a bit weird. Like, I guess it's pretty good when it comes to, like, online play. You know, you have a wider team. Like, that's another thing as well. People were saying that, oh, it's good that they cut the decks because in the old games, it was like there was one right team. And when they cut the decks, it means you have to vary your team strategy up a little bit more, because all the best Pokemon they might not be in it anymore. So you have to think about it. It shook up the meta. But if they're just going to add them all back in anyway, but make you pay for it this time, I don't know. It's up to you whether that's something that you feel good about paying for. I know I don't, but, you know, maybe I'm just like a cheap, stingy bastard. But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say, really. For now, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go and play. I think I'll play Halo 3 ODST for the personal computer. I haven't got around to it yet, so yeah. See you later.